When you say Cherian, you understand. But then person is something an abstract terminology like. But then we need to speak further about it. So therefore, we are going to define a person. Who is a person? It's a phenomenological understanding. Therefore, yes, it gives more insight into the person and his actions. So always remember, actions reveal the person. Yes. A lot more can be said about it from the point of view of conscious understanding. Well, space and time becomes a very important factor in revealing the action, and that a person having history reveals himself at different stages of levels of history differently. Yeah, that is why we said, yes, a kind of mature revelation is there, revealing of oneself is there. For the moment, we don't go into. That is good for a class discussion. Yes, taking into account what you have studied in your second year, well, we can have a very fruitful discussion, particularly with the conscious concept of rationality as revealed in the epistemology, in space and time, categories and all. The categories that you hold at a particular stage of life is different and modified further as you grow. Okay, we don't go into that. Will take the subject far away. Now we are going to talk something more about the person. Now, to clarify our caption, we need now to explain the term person. We need to explain the term. We need to explain the term person. Carefully go. I will go only slowly move, because this is at the heart. We are at the heart of philosophical anthropology, and it presupposes a lot of your modern philosophy as well as your ancient and medieval philosophy and all. Well, I won't be talking much about medieval and all, but for the moment, yes, we go with the explanation of the term person. It has different meanings attributed to it. It has different meanings attributed to it at various periods. At various periods of the history of philosophy. I will read that sentence once again. It has different meanings attributed to it. It stands for person. Yes, the person has different meanings attributed to it at various periods of the history of philosophy. So, historical, we said man is a historical being, therefore a historical, critical method we apply in knowing about man. So that is what slowly we undertake now. So if you go through the history of Western philosophy, we find that different meanings were attached to the term person. One by one, we will try to know. Okay, in the first place, person was understood to be, a concept having ontological significance. A concept having ontological significance Yes, person with an ontological, a concept having ontological significance. What is that significance? Comma, namely, it has the capacity of substance. It has the capacity of substance. A possible question for 5 marks. If all of you were in the classroom, what is substance? You studied in the first year and in the second year. Substance is that which exists in itself without the support of anything else for its existence. Put it differently, a subsistent thing is called substance. In other words, it doesn't need the support of anything else for its existence. Therefore, a person was understood in the ontological, with an ontological significance, and a person in the ontological significance means having substance, having essence, having something worthwhile of its own. So, don't forget, this is one aspect. So, a concept, person is a concept having ontological significance. What do you mean by ontological significance? It has the capacity of substance. That is the first explanation or meaning attributed to the person. Okay, in the first place, person was understood to be a concept having ontological significance, comma, namely, it has the capacity of substance. Capacity of substance. Well, as philosophy students, you should be able to explain further. You know it. What is capacity? What is substance? And all that is. Okay. What does it mean? This would mean a person is a concept. A person is a concept that cannot be substituted. A concept that cannot be substituted. Very important. Yeah, the person is a concept that cannot be substituted. My dear students, friends, what do you mean by the depth meaning of it? Yeah, person cannot be substituted. So simply you cannot substitute two people and say that both are the same. No, you cannot. Each one is unique with a substance, unique with his own. I forgot. Okay. A concept that cannot be substituted. You cannot substitute. What does it mean? Simply, you have 25 students or 50 students or 60 students in a class, and a professor simply cannot say, yes, so-and-so is the same as so-and-so, or so-and-so can be substituted with so-and-so. You cannot. In other words, uniqueness of the person. A person is unique. Well, if you go into the various scriptures you find, yes, you cannot be simply substituted. You are a person with worth. You have your potentials. You have your substance unique of your own. Therefore, very important, please remember it. a person is a concept having ontological significance. In other words, it has the person has the capacity of substance. Talking further about it, well, we say a person is a concept that cannot be substituted. Cannot be substituted. Furthermore, you can just listen. To clarify more clearly, in the scholastic terms, the interior dimensions of life, knowledge, spirit, action, etc., are not yet person. Persons means instead, in all these, man remains himself. Man remains himself. So, in the beginning we said actions reveal the person. A person is revealed through his actions. Now, while person has an ontological significance, it has a capacity of substance. Person is a concept that cannot be substituted, and we say person remains himself. In other words, yes, he has a certain amount of substantiality, therefore he remains himself. This is a scholastic understanding of substance. Person means instead of that in all these man remains himself. So in other words, there is a stability, substantiality, etc. It is the fact of being able to and of having to exist in himself. Okay, that you can forget. But then this much should be remembered, and then your reflection more could be added to. So in other words, yes, explain the term person. Well, when we go into the history of Western philosophy, we find different meanings attached to it. The first one, yes, person is a concept having ontological significance. In other words, it has the capacity of substance. That's why we say substance is that which exists in itself without the support of anything else for its existence. Therefore, he remains himself. The person remains himself. That's the thing. Okay. It is the fact of being able to and of having to exist in himself. Okay. The second one. Later on, the category of person was understood to be a psychological concept. Later on, the category person was understood to be a psychological concept. Psychological concept, yes, psychological concept, specifically including the capacity for self-consciousness. Capacity for self-consciousness. The first understanding is an ontological significance as a substance. Second one is, yes, a psychological. The person is understood in a psychological concept. As a psychological concept means has the capacity for self-consciousness. He becomes aware of himself as a person. And that is why we say, yes, the actions reveal the person. Clear? So that self-consciousness is there. That's why even in the court, yes, when a case is there in the court, you are asked, are you the person, or the police department try to find all the possible proofs to say that so and so is the culprit. So here too, yes, well, psychological concept, person is understood as a psychological concept having the capacity for self-consciousness. And we enter into the third one, which is a very important one. In our own times, the term person has been understood to be a dialogical concept. So, in our own times, that is the existentialism and followed phenomenological approach. In our own times, the person has been understood to be a dialogical concept. Dialogical concept. Yes, we have seen already Martin Buber, Gabriel Marcel and all. So that is, they become a kind of, yes, help for us to understand what is this dialogical concept. Rest, slowly I will dictate, and probably in the next class I will explain it further. So in our own times, the term person has been understood to be a dialogical concept, which includes three dimensions. A dialogical concept which includes three, yes, which three in our own times the term person has been understood to be a dialogical concept which includes three dimensions. You'll understand better. First of all, vocation. Every person has a vocation. Every person has such a unique meaning that he cannot be substituted. He cannot be substituted. Yes, vocation means what? Everyone has a vocation. As you take, for example, even the contemporary history of India, Abdul Kalam, yes, cannot be substituted with any president, any other president of India, or preceding or the present or the preceding president. He is a unique person having a particular vocation, so he cannot be. So in other words, well, that's only just one example. Any persons, prime ministers you take for example, or anyone. Yes, even chief ministers or anyone. Yes, these are all posts. But then you take persons. Well, you cannot be simply substituted. Yes, person has a vocation. That is the dialogical understanding of man. Okay. Yes, vocation. Secondly, action of the, okay, secondly, action, yes, vocation, action. Yes, if you have a particular vocation, your actions are also typical. Okay, action. Every person, the life of the person is expressed in a never-ending action. The life of the person is expressed in a never-ending action. Thirdly, communication. Communication. What does it mean? Yes, communication. The dialogical concept of the person, the dialogical concept of the person bears, B-E-A-R-S, bears along with it the aspect of communication. With it, the aspect of communication. The first movement which reveals a person, the first movement which reveals a person is this capacity for an encounter with others. An encounter with capacity for communication means a capacity of communication with others, relating oneself with others, encountering others, as being. Yes, that is, if you use Heideggerian terminology, well, with sign, with the same means what? Yes, with the same, who has the same figure, same thinking, same understanding, etc. Okay, these are the three understanding. But then, based on all these, means the concept having an ontological significance, it has a concept, it has the capacity of substance. A substance is what? Yes, a concept that cannot be substituted. Man reveals himself and all that is. And then person is understood in a psychological concept. As a psychological concept means capacity for self-consciousness. And the third one is the dialogical concept. Yes, dialogue entering into. And so dialogical concept has three aspects, namely a vocation, yes, actions and communication. The person is able to communicate himself with sign, with the same. Yes, man is said to be in the world and man is also said to be with the same, means with the other. Therefore, putting all these together, well, we have to emerge with a global understanding. Finally, there has emerged a global concept of a person. A global concept of a person. Finally, there has emerged a global concept of the person. To make it clear, we will take up that only in the next class. In the next class we will take up, we will also bring in what we have seen, the three dimensions of man, and then we present our global understanding of the person. That is in the next class.